Okay, so welcome back to Body-Based Therapy with me, Debraj, and today I'm very excited to have with me as a guest Mr. Martin Andersson from Sweden, who is actually the first guy to complete the Bioenergetics Facilitator training, all three parts of it, and it's quite an endurance feat. And you've come out the other side and are now running workshops, and I just wanted to celebrate you for a moment, Martin, for making your way through. You know, I know you signed up right at the beginning. It's quite a long course. It's pretty intense, and it's really quite something to come out the other side and now to start doing this work. So I want to appreciate you, man. I think you've been absolutely awesome, and you're just a great guy. And yeah, maybe say a little bit how it was for you, or whatever you feel like saying.
Yeah, thank you, Dev. Well, it's been hard work. For sure. I mean, there are many different parts and many different elements to each part. I could feel like, even though in the later parts you focus more on leading groups and running workshops on your own, it's still very much a learning experience, which takes your own process with bioenergetics deeper. Because I did focus around the defensive strategies, you know, that we learn about even in part one. So I used those as stepping stones for my own workshops, and even though I had worked with them, you know, many times before, I did learn a lot more about them and about myself when I was teaching them. So that was very interesting, and also a welcome experience and a humbling one.
It is quite something going through these things, you know. It's like I found creating the content, you know, or when I was writing a book about character structure recently, you know, my mind is completely, whilst I'm writing about one of the ones or creating workouts, you know, I can see maybe later in the day, my God, I'm totally doing this. I'm dissociating like crazy, or, you know, I'm super in this aggressive character or rigid character now, or whatever. You know, it's quite, it is quite, it hits you, you know, it hits you internally on the ego, you know, like a Zen stick whacking you. You're totally doing this right now, you know, right now.
Yeah, and I know what you mean, and I really felt like each time or each week when I worked on the different, you know, defensive strategy, that particular strategy just became stronger, or perhaps I just noticed it more, like you said. But I think like I would say the endurer weeks were the worst. Just absolute resistance to everything and just being stuck. But you know, it's having to move your energy somehow and just get out of it and do it.
Yeah, man. I mean, the endurer is quite. I think we've all got an endurer side. You know, even if you met like Tony Robbins or some motivational guru, probably got an endurer side as well, and all it really does is hold us back in life. You know, it's like this internal restraining force. It's quite something to see, quite something to see inside our own psyche. You know?
Absolutely.
And now you're starting to lead work as part of the part 3 of the training. You know, you had to lead 5 groups and then record them, because they were online groups, so that wasn't too difficult. And then had to go through and like put subtitles in English for me to kind of assess how you were getting on. You know, yeah. How was that, and what are you doing now with bioenergetics?
Right now, I'm a little undecided about where I'm moving or where I'm taking it next, so to speak. I did give some workshops before I was done with part 3, and I did it in a very kind of different context. It was with a group that was working with ayahuasca, and I had like a bioenergetics workshop to prepare them for the ayahuasca experience, and it was quite a very successful combination to combine these two modalities, because they really do complement each other nicely. So I will probably be continuing that to give workshops in that context. So some of the people who were on the online course have asked me if I will do a follow-up, which I'm not really certain. I really do think there are benefits to doing stuff online, definitely, but I feel like I want to work more with groups in person now. So I'm not, like I said, not 100% sure what the next step will be, but I will, however, go into training as a regular therapist as well pretty soon to kind of complement this stuff and give it more, give myself perhaps more credibility as a facilitator if you have that background as well, and perhaps combine these things also, because it's also a level where you can do some work. You can't do all the work there, but you can do some work there.
So you'd like to work with, how do you see your work evolving at all? Would you like to work with groups or more one-to-one? What's your kind of, do you feel anything that pulls you in particular?
I think working with groups mainly, actually, and I'm also doing a lot of work now with Qigong and Tai Chi, and I can see that there are very strong, they resemble each other in many ways. So I'm kind of thinking of perhaps adopting some techniques from that tradition as well, because I mean the human body is the human body, and its range of movements are quite limited in a way. So it's not something strange that we utilize the same motions or movements, and in both schools. But it's very interesting that the kind of underlying philosophy is also quite similar, actually, with the stored up stress and trauma and energy that can move, that kind of thing.
Yeah, traditionally, like Oriental schools have I guess, a more kind of internal way of working with repressed energy, and then traditionally the Western schools are a bit more kind of It's interesting. It's interesting, all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, also when you really find out that many of the core exercises are the same. I mean, like there are similar things to bow and arch in Qigong, for instance, and many different things.
Well, it's interesting, man.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it just speaks to the soundness of the practice and the theory.
Yeah. I mean, I guess what I like about bioenergetics is it's a chance to be present in the body and go on an inner journey, as opposed to a kind of mind-based, thinking-based, concept-based journey. That's what I like about it. I used to do Qigong years ago, and that was also good. I hadn't heard of things like bio then, and they did have this looking at the sky or something where you kind of, it's a bit like the bow. I remember gazing the clouds or something. I can't remember. They had these kind of 8 exercises, but yeah, interesting stuff. And you feel like you'd like to work with groups,
Yes. Yeah.
You get a group energy, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. But it was when we did the instructor training with all the guys together, it was it's definitely something else, that kind of work, and so I'd really like to explore that further. Yeah, because it's like I said, working over the computer, it's not really the same thing, although it has its benefits, definitely. But to do more work in person with groups is what I want to do. And like I said, this concept as using bioenergetics workshops to prepare people for plant medicines. Is one venue I have that I'm going to explore.
Mm-hmm. 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 Cool.
And it's also like it's very beneficial to do this work when you're working with plant medicines as well, because you get into the mindset that it's really you that have to do the work, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like going to the doctor and being prescribed a pill.
Mm-hmm.
You really do have to do a lot of work yourself.
You have to walk the walk.
Yeah.
Well, I think, it's like people often kind of come to me sometimes, or I'm online and people want to have a bit of an argument about which therapy is best or whatever, but I look out at the world and see so much kind of misery and suffering and lack of awareness. I think anyone who is offering something, and can reach people and can help them, that's got to be celebrated, not made some kind of, social media kind of argument drama. It's like at the end of the day, it's like, I understand people get competitive, or the nature of the mind is it is split. It wants this, then it wants this, and it wants to fight. It wants to create a little fight. But yeah, and my mind is no different, sure. But I also have to come back to this, basically the acknowledgement that, if someone's getting something from something, then that's working for them. It doesn't matter so much what I think about it, unless it's something really, if they're just taking heroin or something, then it's a bit different. But I mean, like if they're doing some kind of therapy, no matter what our judgments or my judgments might be about it, it's like if they're getting benefit from it, then that's to be treasured and valued, and it's quite an ego trip to take a position against it, I think.
Yeah, I mean it's quite a rigid thing, it seems to me sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, different people need different tools. It's like that.
Yes. Or just, there's also like in drugs, there's like gateways, there's a gate where you come through, or something that attracts you about it. It's more on the sidelines. In group therapy, when I used to do a lot of group therapy, I mean, part of it was used to fancy some woman to go to group therapy, so then it's like that pulls you in. It's not really a very good therapy. In theory, it's not a very good basis to get involved in therapy, but in reality, a lot of people come to groups to check each other out also, for dating or whatever. They just want other people in a social group who have similar interests to them, whatever. It's like yeah.
I mean, that's also something that is sometimes hard to emulate when you're working online, like that group, the social aspect of it.
Yeah, the social aspect, and then I mean, you do get some kind of a little bit of it. I haven't done so many online groups, really. You get something, but I mean, I ran so many groups in the group room, and absolutely, even if it's a 1 hour session or a 5-day workshop, it's like, there's absolutely something that goes on when a lot of people are in a space doing a coherent practice together. It's like it boosts it, and it's not just the peer pressure aspect. There's some kind of energetic aspect to it, which just helps people to go deeper in some way.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, the digital format has its benefits sometimes. It's not always a decision between having it in person or online. Sometimes the decision is between having it online or not having it at all. So I mean, sometimes it's really necessary as well. So I don't think I could have done the. I mean, I probably couldn't have done the stage 3 of my training here if I hadn't done it online. It would have been really, really hard to pull it off.
Yeah, especially with COVID and all these measures and stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm really happy that you came through the other side. For me, it's also a boost as well, you know, to see people coming up and being ready to go out into the world and yeah, and then take something out there, you know, and start to show themselves as a therapist or workshop leader. You know, I also find that nourishing, you know, that other people are doing it. As I get older, you know, it's like I want to be able to support people who've got that energy and drive and possibility to step up and do it. So I'm super happy to see you completed, Martin. I'm super happy to see you completed, and I just wish you all the very best for with your work, basically.
Yeah, thank you, Devin. I just wanted to thank you as well for creating this content. I'm really sure it has done a lot for me in my life, and I'm sure it has done a lot for other people as well. So thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you.